and David and everybody who's here today. Before I get started, I love speaking last because I get to contradict everybody that's supposed to be before me. I'm contrary. A contrarian, I think we call it. But anyway, not everything. Most of the things I heard I can't contradict or argue with. However, I am on a cross-country bike tour from California to Washington, D.C., or Washed Up D.C., as we like to call it. And we have a mailing list. So, again, you've been asked to sign up for mailing lists, but if you would like to be on our list to get updates, because I do have a podcast, Cindy Sheehan Soapbox. So after the tour, you'll still be getting these updates. So I'm going to pass this around if you'd like to sign up for my list if you haven't already. Okay. Yay. So Minor, thank you. After you're finished, you can just pass it around. Gosh, we have, I don't know how many miles we've gone so far, but about a week ago I tried to figure it out. And this country is only, from California to Washed Up D.C., where I live, it's only about 3,000 miles, but somehow we've gone about 4,500 miles. And one of the reasons we've done that is because when we were in New Mexico, Gallup, New Mexico, which is just on the border between Arizona and New Mexico, we decided to drive down to Dallas to protest the dedication of the Bush Library there. And we call it Library because they're trying to bury the lies. And of course, I just hate to tell you all this, but George Bush isn't the first politician that ever lied, and he wasn't the last. So that's why we have to support this alternative to the capitalist system and the two capitalist war parties. What my friend Gore Vidal called the Bankers Party, what I call the War Party, and of course they're just two parties to support the status quo, the establishment, whatever you want to call it, capitalism, whatever. That's what they're designed to support. So anyway, Lynn did get a hold of me by Facebook about 10 days ago. She said, "Are you coming to New Jersey?" And I said no. And
you said hell no.
Did I say hell no? No, I didn't. I like New Jersey. And I just said not this trip. And however, what's lucky for you guys but unlucky for our friend John Gold is he ended up in the hospital in Philadelphia with back surgery about a month ago, I guess. So we were diverting to Philadelphia. And this isn't that far from Philadelphia, so I guess we were supposed to have a day off or something today, and nobody wants us to have days off. So they say, come here, come there, and we always go there and go here and stuff. So anyway, I'm glad it really worked out for us to be here today. And we get to have our day off tomorrow at the Jersey Shore. And we haven't, I don't even remember. The last time we had a day off, I was in Peoria, Illinois. So that tells you how long ago that's been that we had a day off. So wow. Yeah, this is all, everybody's running for office here. And I think that it's, raise your hand if you're running for office. Well, not everybody, just a few. And I'm also running for office. I'm running for governor of California next year. Democratic governor that really deserves somebody to run against him, for sure, and not just a Republican. You know, somebody that presents a clear alternative. Because Jerry Brown, I'm born and raised in California. He is the first politician I ever voted for governor of California. And and I'm gonna, if I ever get a chance to talk to him, I'm going to take him to task for that. You know, I voted for you the first time, and you have seriously let the people of the state of California down over and over and over again. As mayor of Oakland, as Attorney General of California, and now as governor again of California. There should be a law. You already had your turn. You can't have another turn. And so I like this term green socialist, because certainly, why am I riding my bike across the country? Because one of our demands for Tour de Peace is that this country has to sever its dependence on fossil fuel. Has to sever it. Not foreign fossil fuels, but as fracking, as offshore drilling, as onshore drilling is increasing, and the disasters to our environment increasing, is evident that fossil fuels is one of the major contributing factors to this environmental pollution. And not only do we drive cars, we breathe the air, but did you know a lot of fertilizer for crops is petroleum based? Yes. So we're ingesting it. We are like fossil fuel little robots. And we can't imagine a nation that is not dependent on fossil fuels. When there's so much green, sustainable, clean, renewable forms of energy already present. Don't these politicians and capitalists realize they have children and grandchildren too? That this planet will continue, but maybe life on this planet won't continue? And as far as GMOs go, I am 100% against genetically modified organisms. And some of the reasons why is, first of all, they're not genetically modified to decrease hunger. Obviously. Why do 1 million kids in this country go to bed hungry every night if 95% of their corn is GMO? And the whole adding genetically modifying wheat to eliminate world hunger, all it did was give everybody sensitivity to gluten. Right? It made us fat. It made us more hungry. And it was supposed to eliminate it. Another thing is this Monsanto and other companies, they're killing my honeybees. They're killing my bees, and they can go to hell. Right? I think that, yes, I agree with the guy who's saying up here, and there's no cops in heaven, because we all know the answer to that, even if we believe in heaven. But I agree with him that we need to vote, especially if you're going to vote green, or if you're going to vote socialist, or if you're going to vote Peace and Freedom Party. That's my party in California. It's a socialist party. Yes, vote, but legislation is not going to change things, and it's not going to change things fast enough. So what do? If we're against GMOs, we grow our own food. If we're against GMOs, we support farmers markets. If we're against GMOs, then we buy locally, in season, and organic. Now I know that can be expensive, but here in this country, most of us eat way too much anyway. So it's better to eat healthy and organic than and eat a smaller amount of calories than to go to McDonald's and get 10,000 calories. You're going to feel fuller, and your body's going to use the nutrition. So that's just one of my issues is Monsanto. I hate them. We're gonna let the company that invented Agent Orange, that invented PCBs, that invented bovine growth hormone and Roundup, we're gonna let our children and grandbabies eat their crap? Hell no! I hate them. They're like one of my most hated corporations out there, because they're insidious. They're in everything. And one of the reasons our schools are so, everybody says, Cindy, where are the children? How come, I'm sorry, I know you guys aren't children, but to me, I'm so old like anybody under 35 as a child, as a kid. Where are our students?
That's true.
How come our students aren't out there like they were during Vietnam? Well, there's a lot of reasons. First of all, the establishment got rid of forced conscription. And they didn't do it because they thought that was wrong. They did it because they saw how it radicalized the students and their parents and their grandparents, right? But another reason is, and I agree with Minor, school is so expensive. You know, if you are going to school and you don't have to work, that means you're probably the child of somebody profiting off of this stuff. Off of wars, off of GMOs, off of the fossil fuel industry. But if you're not, that means that you're working. You know, you're working full time to support your school habit. And so my daughter, she got her master's degree with loans, with grants, with scholarships, with our help. She still had to work full time. And she still has $50,000 in loans. To me, I hate that too. I'm just going to hate everything today. I hate the fact that our kids either have to go to war and die like my son to get a college education, or get tens of thousands of dollars in obscene, appalling, inhumane loans to go to school. And going to school from preschool to university is a freaking human right. It's not a privilege. And so one of the problems and why we can't get people to vote alternative is that people have been conditioned to believe that these things are privileges. And if you don't have health insurance, or if you don't have a roof over your head, you don't have a job, you can't go to school, that's your problem. That's what we're conditioned. Because those things are privileges, they're not human rights. So that's your problem. Where's the problem of this system? And I want you to think, when I say system from now on, spell it with a C, not an S. C-Y-S-T, system. It's disease and it's cancerous. And unless enough of us hate it as much as I do to ride my bike across the country, it's not going to change. And what we do is we can go vote, but that's not the end of it. That's just the beginning. That's just a tiny part of what we need to do. And that's why, like Jill Stein said, people vote out of fear. People don't vote out of courage. People vote out of fear. And you know who they should be afraid of? They should be afraid of the Democrats and Republicans. And they should vote for that clear alternative. That's who I'm afraid of. You know, I'm afraid of their system. I'm afraid of their wars. I'm afraid of their economic oppression. The reason I'm running for governor is because Jerry Brown is cutting social services and raising tuition. Right? And so I don't see any difference, not even a penny, between him and a Republican. And so he's also in California. I think you have it here too. Our governor he adores and is in the pocket of the prison industrial complex.
Oh, yeah.
He is against legalization. He's against repealing three strikes laws. He's for privatization of prison, is what my governor is for. And of course, they're for privatization of the schools and education, which is public schools should be fully funded. Public schools should be open, not closed. You know, teachers should be able to teach, and students should be able to learn. And that's the alternative that we need to present people with. If you keep voting for the system with a C, then that's what you're going to keep getting, is disease. And so I care about myself. I care about my children. I care about my grandchildren. I care about my state, this country, and the world. And that's what we have to do. We have to care about each other and our communities, to do the work, to get our hands dirty and to make a difference. to get those green grass stains on our knees, you know, to really do the hard work for change. And so I know this is really weird, but people got all hypnotized by the Obama campaign in 2008. They were hypnotized, I say. They were hypnosis. It was hypnosis. They were smoking the Democrat. And what happened was that they put their hope in an institution that hasn't worked for us for I don't even know when it did. When did it work for us?
Never.
And so when we say that World War I was the first war where there were heavy casualties, what about the Spanish-American War where 2 million Filipinos were slaughtered by the U.S.?
Right.
What about the war on our indigenous people here in the United States? You know, people say, oh, Sandy Hook was the worst tragedy of young people ever, unless you're Native American, right? It was probably the worst tragedy of white suburban kids in America. But these are the ideas that we always have to promulgate, is that we can't take our country back because we never had it. We have to take our country from the people who believe they own it. And we're the ones that own it. We don't take our power back because we never had it. What we have to do is realize that we're the only ones with the power to change things for the positive. And I don't wait for people in washed up D.C. And we shouldn't either. We shouldn't wait for people in Trenton or Sacramento. It's about community, and it's about turning towards each other to make these changes that really make a difference. And that's where I get my hope. I have flown over this country so many times I can't even count. You know, I wish I was smart enough to do frequent flyer miles because I could fly for free everywhere now. If I did, I'd flown millions of miles around the world across this country. But I decided to do this country 50 miles at a time. Very slowly move and meet with people like you all over this country. And you know what I discovered, besides really badass calf muscles, is hope. I got my hope back doing this. Because everywhere we go, people have recognized that the system is diseased. They have recognized that the system only works for a few people in this country and against the rest of the people of the world. And they are turning to reconnect in community. And I think that's where our hope and our solution lies. The solution is in this backyard. It's not in Congress. The solution is wherever we've been and not in washed up D.C. You know, they think they want to have all these solutions all the time. They want to look like they're doing something to earn the obscene amount of money they're paid. But the only thing they're doing is meeting together to figure out how to help people like Monsanto, help people like Boeing, help people like the insurance companies and Big Pharma. And we're not even in the equation. They don't care if it hurts us or helps us. They're just in it to help the 1%. And the government, Obama, I don't care what you want to call it, they are able servants of the war machine and capitalism. That's what these people are. So we have to protect our communities and ourselves and our children and our grandchildren, and when we do that, we're helping the rest of the world. A healthy America, or United States of America, is a healthy planet. And I'm going to run for governor of California on these ideas. And so, I'd love it if all of you move to California and work on my campaign and vote for me. But you have work to do here. This is where your work is needed. But I know that there have been communists and socialism that have worked. I've been to Cuba 3 times. I see a country where human needs are elevated miles above greed. Everybody has health care, a roof over their head, education. They are the most educated country on this planet. There's only one country that is more literate than Cuba, and that's old Soviet Georgia. Not our Georgia, of course. Old Soviet Georgia. They have eradicated childhood hunger in Cuba. Here, 1 million of our young people every day go to bed hungry, at least. In Cuba, they have made these things that we consider privileges, human rights, civil rights. Everybody has a roof over their head. Here, in the most prosperous, greatest country in the world, we have at least 18 million empty housing units and 3 million homeless people. That's 6 houses for every homeless person, even the babies. Why is anybody homeless? It's ridiculous, it's obscene, and I hate it. I hate it. And then I see the inspiration of Venezuela and what Hugo Chavez was able to do in 14 years there. And I see many democratic, socialist, left-wing governments in Latin America going the same way. It might not have worked back, 70s, 80s, but it's working now, and you know why it's working? It's working because the governments are putting education as a priority, and it's working because the governments know it won't work unless the people are empowered. And when Hugo Chavez died, everybody asked me, I've been to Venezuela 3 times. I considered Hugo Chavez a friend and a comrade. I wrote a book called Revolution, a Love Story about the Bolivarian Revolution. And people said, Cindy, is the revolution going to collapse now? I'm like, no, because the revolution wasn't Hugo Chavez. The revolution was 25 million people in Venezuela whose lives were improved 100% because they got empowered to work with the government to make a difference. So if they can do it there, how come we can't do it here? We can. We absolutely can do it here. So you're my inspiration to keep pedaling. We will be in Washed Up DC on July 3rd. And hopefully we're going to have this rally, and we're going to bike from Arlington to Washed Up DC, or to the, well, we'll be there already, to the White House. And we're going to hang a banner we found in 29 Palms and Liberated from the Fence, because we didn't agree with it. It said, 29 Palms is a Marine base. The banner said, hide your daughters, hide your wives, hide everybody. Oh, we're coming, we're bringing it. That's usually the cue for the banner to show up somehow. Whenever I start talking about it, the banner shows up. So let's put it up front. The 2-7 is back in town. The 2-7 just returned from Afghanistan. So this is what they were promising. They were promising to do in their community what they do in Afghanistan. And I know, Jesus, right? This appalled us. This appalled us. I rode my bike by it and I'm like, we can't let that stay up. We have to liberate it. So Obama has daughters. Obama has a wife. Oh, you want to hold it again? Yes.
Yeah, I want to take pictures.
Okay, yeah. Photo op. Obama has a daughter. Obama has wives. Oh, I guess Obama's part of everybody.
What is everybody?
I think it means everybody. I think we've translated it to everybody. Yeah, no, actually, we got this in California. So we're going to hang it on the White House fence when we get there.
Wow.
And we're going to say, this is what the truth that you tell us to doing.
Wow.
So we called the base, and they said, oh, that's not the message of the Marines. I'm like, really? That's what y'all do? And he goes, we'll have it removed. I said, don't even bother. We couldn't leave in this culture of rape, in this culture where 1 out of 3 women in the military is sexually assaulted and raped, when up to 90% are harassed, sexually harassed. Yeah, we couldn't let that stay up. And that's the message that we have to take to D.C. You know, is that we hope that when I get there, Obama will say, oh gosh, you know, Cindy Sheehan, she's marched here, she's got arrested here, she's asked for meetings with me, she demands peace, she demands environmental sustainability, she demands an end to the persecution of whistleblowers like Bradley Manning. She demands that the Bush administration and any other administration up to and including Obama administration be prosecuted for war crimes and crimes against humanity. You know, Cindy has done this for a long time, but she rode her bike here. I'm going to sign off on these demands. I'm going to make sure they're implemented. Now, we don't expect that to happen, but what we expect to happen is that there become a grassroots groundswell for these demands, no matter who's president, no matter what political party is in office. Our activism has to be based on our principles. And if it was wrong when Bush was doing it, it's even worse when Obama's doing it. Because people, you know, they have this propaganda idea. And so, if I'm going to go home that night, on July 3rd, I'm going to fly home. I've been gone since April 4th. We started at my son's grave in Vacaville, California. Unless somebody pisses me off and I get arrested. Then I don't know how long I'll have to stay in Washington, D.C. But I don't know why. I'm hoping it doesn't happen because it always happens. It always happens when I go there, I get arrested. So yeah, now we can take a few questions. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, everybody. While we're taking questions, I'm going to pass our basket around for donations. This is my actual bike basket that I'm going to have to replace when we get off a tour. But anyway, anything you can give is appreciated. I'm going to pass this around while we take questions.
Cindy, the Green Party of Monmouth County hereby pledges $100 to the cause.
Oh, thank you, Green Party. Woo! Did you have a question?
Why governor? Why not go for Congress or Senate?
Why governor? Why not go for Congress or Senate? First of all, I ran for Congress once. I ran in 2008 against Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco. I did come in second. And last year I ran for Vice President of the United States with the Peace and Freedom Party. I believe that most of the time our politics should be local. And I think it's better to get on a county commission like Pat did, I don't remember, than to run for a federal office and not win. I think that we should be running for school board, for city council, for mayor, for county commissioners, whatever, and that's how our ideas are going to get in, and that's where we would be more successful. But governor is just to highlight the disparity of what people think that Jerry Brown stands for and what he really stands for. And I believe running for the governor of California is local. You know, it's a local issue, it's a state issue. I have said this before and it proved wrong, but I'm hoping that if I run ever again, that it would be for a local office and not a federal office. And I think that's just an amazing way to make a difference. And California has top 2 primary now, which takes almost all third parties and independents out of the equation, because it's like an open primary, and then the top 2 vote getters move on to the general. we had it for the first time last year. There was oftentimes when the top two vote getters were both Republicans or both Democrats. Never a Green, never Peace and Freedom, never Libertarian. So I'm running to challenge that law too. Because if I don't get in the top two, then we'll sue California because of that law. But I came in the top two when I ran against Pelosi, so there is a great danger that I might do it again. So anyway.
Thanks very much. Cindy, you mentioned where are the children, and then you addressed the education, and why aren't they involved? Well, my question to you is, where are the churches?
Right.
Where are the churches? I mean, where are the Daniel Berrickers and were they bought and paid for under Bush?
One of the Berrigan brothers.
Where did they go?
One of the Berrigan brothers was very active. So they are, so they're in the organization. I have friends who are
They bought and paid for tonight?
The nominations are dominations. So that's a very significant Freudian slip. The denominations, but the offshoots like Catholic Worker, the Dorothy Day House and stuff like that, Pax Christi. I know many Catholic priests and nuns who are very, very active still, but we were in Missouri during Memorial Day, and the right-wing war-supporting billboards were driving me crazy there, and very few churches, you know, like the Church of Christ, the Methodists, I'm talking about the United Church of Christ, not the other one. They were, of course, better when Bush was president. But now that we have a Democrat in office, they're not that good or strong against the wars and what's happening. So I think religion in this country, for the most part, has become extremely right wing, and it's just a tragedy. You have to be a patriot. Who says you have to be a patriot to be a Christian? You know. So anyway. I can't tell you, but I know there's a lot of religious people in the movement. So, question.
I think out west, unions are trying to organize unemployed. And if you know of any efforts like this, they've got to do it. They've got to go back and get the numbers. This is what they did under Franklin Roosevelt when I was a kid. And they've got to do it again. Do they realize that they have to do that again?
Yeah.
They need to have unemployed councils, and they need to have storefronts. They need to organize the unemployed.
Right. Unfortunately, my party is a very labor organized party, that we think that the workers and the unemployed should be organized. However, most unions, especially the big unions, are so corrupted by the Democratic Party that they don't fight for the people anymore. They fight for the bosses. They fight for the government. So part of my campaign is going to be modeled. Peace and Freedom Party is a socialist party. It has a great platform, but in, I don't know, 20s or 30s, I should know this because I majored in California history at UCLA, but I can't remember everything. You know, I have to remember how to pedal my bike and brush my teeth, so I can't remember everything. But Upton Sinclair ran for governor, and his campaign was called EPIC, End Poverty in California. And it was organizing the unemployed, because unemployment was super significant. Today, 25% of our young people are unemployed. Real unemployment is hovering around 20%, not what the people tell us. So, I mean, it'd be a brilliant idea to organize and give people like this political power so we can really start making the changes that need to be made. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to say, you know, the churches were around when Sandy
was happening. The governor, the state didn't care about. Every week those churches got together and they pulled together and they worked their asses off. And as far as the school system, I believe in education more than anything in the world. But I would say there needs a revision in the school system because some of the systems are corrupt. Now, she comes from Kingsburg. That's one of the most corrupt areas in school systems. You had a super that wanted to walk off the place with $700,000, and that's all she was interested. Why do you want to become a teacher? I mean, the passion for teacher comes about caring about our kids. We don't get into these areas because what are the benefits? And when can we retire? Well, Christy did a little change there. He changed the age.
Harold, you have a question.
Now, I'm just making a statement. I'm sorry. But, you know, I just wanted you to know, I was one of those people that went out with those people. And you know what? The schools and everybody else is trying to take out God in our children's lives. Like we have a freedom to make a choice, to believe or not to believe. But everywhere around you, people are doing whatever they want to do, and everything's okay.
Obviously everything's not okay, but education has been under attack for many decades in this country, but No Child Left Behind under the Bush administration, that a congressman from California helped him write, a Democratic congressman named George Miller, has really destroyed public education. And No Child Left Behind has left every child behind, except the children of the 1%. So, and then it's designed to destroy, so it could go to charter schools and privatization. Everything's about profit. Prisons for profit, schools for profit, public works for profit, and you know that is, they say, oh, because they're more efficient. Well, you know, that's just bullshit. So anyway, I'm going to move on. You have a question, and you have a question. How long do we keep going? Oh, my beer.
Well, I had to find a way of answering people who feel like you're throwing your vote away. I believe the bean counters, I don't care if they're called social scientists out of MIT, the bean counters look at every vote and how the trend is going. They watch that stuff. That's their voting. Third party is against the first and second, which is really the same. So it's just, you're throwing your vote away. Most people don't vote, and they say, oh, I didn't vote for him. Then I got to know one guy, and he never voted for anybody. So I think having a good way to tell somebody, no, you're not throwing your vote away because you're voting for something, and you're saying against this and you're for this.
Well, I agree. The bean counters count that. Even though the voting machines might not count it, the bean counters look at it. And voting for third party or independent, like you said, is registering your opposition to the other parties. And I think it's very important. However, in 2012, only 1.6% of people voted third party or independent for president. And to me, that was very discouraging and disgusting. So, questions?
Cindy, I'm sure you speak to youth groups also, and when I speak to youth groups, it seems like a few might be interested, but most seem like they are just, when I ask them, what about war and peace, what about the climate, what about the economy, they say things like, oh, we just don't talk about those things. So how, in your opinion, how do we get young people are the future? How can we get young people involved in all these movements, the women's movement, the peace movement, the workers' movement, the environmental movement? How can we get young people involved?
How do we get young people involved in all these movements? Well, first of all, I also am pleased to report that I see many more young people coming out who are anything from anti-Monsanto, anti-capitalist, anti-war marches. It's become more profound. And I think we have to, and these guys back here, look at them, they're young. It's like going to church and getting yelled at by your pastor because people never come to church. And you're like, you never like say thank you for coming to church. You always yell because nobody's there. And so anyway, I think we have to stop talking to kids like saying that young people like they're the future. They're the present. And we have to make them feel like they are a vibrant part of our movements, involved in the decision making, involved in a community, and a community that is more diverse. You know, face it, our movements and our protests are usually not that diverse. And so we have to encourage diversity of youth, color, sexual orientation, you know, whatever is something that's very lacking in a lot of our movements. So, and we have to kind of make them not so boring. Even I get bored. And so, just like give these young people something to be involved in that they believe in. And I'm seeing a trend more and more young people involved in things, and it's awesome. Usually I go and there's no young people. But on this trip, there's been so many young people come out or to the protests and things like that. So it's very encouraging. I think because the Occupy movement, I think, started because of these people and the young people and their student loans that they couldn't pay. You know, and so that's a huge thing that we as third party, and I always say third party, we need a second party that's in opposition to the Demopublicans or something, something that we can really organize around. A revolutionary government, speaking about these things, would say one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to forgive all student debt. You know, and we're going to put more money in education than we do in war. Yeah. We're going to cut back the empire and start fully funding social programs and tell the young people that we need their input. They're involved in the decisions. They're the leaders because today belongs to them, not the future. Today belongs to the young people.
Right.
This is gluten-free beer. I'm gluten-free, so it's pretty good. It's called 3R Raspberry Ale. So anyway, everybody, we'll have a chance to talk to mingle a little bit more and stuff. So again, Lynn and David and all you guys who are really turning towards community and giving all of us lots of hope, we really appreciate the opportunity for Tour de Peace to be here. Thank you.